So I'm delighted now to be joined by the new Tipperary senior football manager, Philly Ryan. Philly, thanks very much for joining us.
No problem, Jonathan. Thanks very much for having me.
No bother. Philly, I suppose you've played football with Tipperary for many, many years. You've played with your own club, Clonmel Commercials. You've been involved coaching selectors at both club and county level as well. Now, what does it mean to you to be named as the new Tipperary senior football manager?
Look, as you say there, Jonathan, I have a long career in the game. A lot of it played in the last 22 years back in the management, coach and training element of it. For me to be involved in my club is fantastic, but to be considered for a Tipperary job is just, I'm absolutely delighted. Yeah, it's a challenge I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and as you said, it's a challenge. It is a challenge. You know, I mean, it's fair to say that the Tipperary at senior football level at the moment is at a fairly low ebb. And there's only one way, in fairness, it can go. And I'm sure, like, that's a challenge. Knowing you for many, many years, that's something that you're really going to take on, and you're really going to drive on this challenge now.
Look, it is. That's a good word. It's a challenge. Like, I mean, it is, and there's no doubt. I do believe that Tipperary probably are low at the moment, probably in Division 4. We look to rectify that next year and hopefully get promotion if we can at all. It's really something I'm going to get my heels dug into, and looking forward to doing a little bit of hard work over the last few weeks, or over the next few weeks. The last few weeks have been an eye-opener for me in terms of what you need in the background, in terms of a team and the whole lot. So I'm hoping we'll have good people in place, and I think the players will respond to that. The players are out there themselves. I've seen a lot of the games over the last few weeks, and there's good quality in those games as well.
Yeah, and as you said, it's about getting the quality. It's about identifying that. It's probably, I suppose, it's about giving new opportunities to people that may not have gotten before. People that may not even have played at underage level. I don't know your plans, Philly, but I'm just saying that they may be some of the options.
Yeah, hopefully there will be. Yeah, over the last couple of years, we've had a couple of very good minor teams. We've had a couple of very good under 20 teams. They've been very, very competitive, and hopefully those lads will be in a position to bulk up the players that are there at senior level now at the moment. The senior players, like, I mean, they're very committed. There's no doubt in their application. Really looking forward to getting in with the players and getting this off the ground, get it up and running.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, even just your few words in the statement there when you were announced as manager, like, you know, players, your philosophy, you said, that has been like that football is all about the players. Players will judge you on how much you care as well as how much you know.
Yeah, well, the commodity in this game is the player, and if you don't have the players buying into you, you don't have anything. So I believe I have a wealth of knowledge in the game at the moment. I've gained a lot of experience from playing, from the sidelines, and from watching games over the last few years. So I intend bringing that and a lot more with it into this role.
Yeah, and of course you're probably coming into a group of players now. Some of them that have been there a good while. You know, maybe have played underage all the way up at adult level, and you know, is that a challenge for you as well? Like to mar what you have, what those players have been doing for Tipperary. You know what they have brought to Tipperary, and then, you know, maybe the players that haven't been involved. Is that going to be a challenge?
Yeah, every bit of it is. Like, I mean, you have to retain the players that are there at the moment, and there's probably going to be a little bit of a rebuild process as well. You can't be foolish and think that you're going to come in and change the world overnight. You're not. I'm certainly not, and I'm not under any illusions. The job is going to be a difficult one. It's going to be one that will require experienced players who are there already, and a bit of new blood as well to come into the setup.
Yeah, and you know, you kind of said as well that, like, you know, the team, you're the way you want the team to play. You want the team to, you know, to play a confident, direct form of football, moving the ball quickly by hand and by foot.
Yeah, ideally, like, I mean, it's a great soundbite, and it sounds very good. In the modern game, I suppose it's a lot of people looking at the game, and they'll say that's exactly the way it's not being played. It's slow, pedestrian pace. I'm going to try and instill a little bit of confidence, hope that the players play with that bit of confidence, and hope that they'll take it on, and that we move the ball a bit quicker. Instead of going lateral, that we'll move forward, and we'll have patterns that we'll be able to put into play and have them moving forward, that it becomes second nature, and that every time we look up, we're looking forward.
Yeah, and you know, I suppose if we do look a little, like, using that word, move forward, if you look forward maybe at next year, you know, the challenges that lie ahead, the games that lie ahead, obviously you have the the Munster League, the McGrath Cup, the league then as well, and then moving on to the championship. I know, like from your time playing, a lot of those games maybe would have taken place in the local clubs, in the rural venues, or the clubs and the venues away from FBD Simple Stadium. You know, what's your view on that now, Philly? Like, I mean, I would have asked other managers the same question.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll just ask your view on that.
Well, look, I'll be straight up and honest with you, as a supporter and one who's been at a lot of Tip games over the last few years. When you come into Thurles and you see the Tip team coming out, there's a little ripple around the place. When you hear us and see other teams coming out, say for instance even last year Sligo came out in the pitch and there was a massive roar. You're coming into probably either the best or the second best pitch in Ireland, and I think it's given the opposition a bit more of a bounce than it gives to a Tipperary team. So it's probably something we look at, is moving maybe to a few of the league games or a few of the Munster League games down around the rural venues, gain a bit of support out of the local people again, and try and build up the pride in Tipperary football. So it's something we will look at. I won't be saying that we won't be using Thurles. I'd love to keep Thurles as a championship venue, but definitely from a league, a Munster League and a National League, I think we'll have to be bringing teams into a little bit of a cauldron where it's a little bit more nastier than being pleasant to play in.
Yeah, and of course that also then promotes football within those areas, within the clubs. You'll have younger people coming to watch the matches, and that again I think will probably be a plus for football within the Tipperary, that some of those younger guys and girls that might have not been brought to Simple Stadium, well, if it's in their field, the club down the road, well, they might go. Yeah,
there is a huge level of support out there for Tip football, and it comes from a lot of the country outlying areas, you know. You Clonmel, Ardfinnan, Bancha, you know, places like that. That's where you'd like to look to play a few games maybe during the National League campaign, and we'd be open to that as well. But I suppose that's a decision we'll be taking further down the line as a management team.
Absolutely. I'm just talking a small bit about the management team. I know that you're still just working on a number of the elements of the management team, one or two maybe that you have tied down, but they're just have commitments at club level and stuff like that, so, and then they'll be confirmed in the coming weeks or so. But you have confirmed two of your selectors so far, Cathal Naughton from JK Brackens and former Tip footballer Paul Cahill as well. And maybe just talk a small bit about the two guys, maybe Cahill more so as well. Cahill is coming from a good football background, really.
He is, yeah. Cahill is he's a Tralee man down from Kerry. He's an Austin Stacks man. Coming with a knowledge of football from that area. His knowledge of club football in the Tip scene isn't massive. He'll claim that himself, and he'll tell you that, and he'll be very open about that. But what he's going to bring is he's going to bring a good outside view to the setup here, and he'll bring his knowledge of Kerry football as well into it. He's been around Tip now for a good number of years, so he'll know the lie of the land, and I think he'll be a huge asset to the management team. He's coming in as a bit of a blank canvas. He won't have any agendas, won't know any of the players. So he'll be judging solely on training and matches, and that's exactly what I'd be looking for. Paul is an old playing colleague of mine, lovely fella Paul. I've seen him in the club scene. He's great knowledge of the game. He's very astute on the sideline. Paul, I think the players will give him massive respect, because Paul carries a huge, in his day he was a great player, and from what he brings in the sideline from his own club and a few other clubs he was involved with, I think he'll bring he'll be a huge asset on the sideline for Tip.
Yeah, and of course, as you said, we have a number of the guys that were involved over previous years staying involved in the medical side and the physio side and that kind of stuff too. So that kind of brings a bit of, I suppose, familiarity for the players as well with some of the backroom team as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's vital too. Like, I mean, you have to have that bit of continuity, and the players have to have the trust, particularly in the medical people and the staff that they'll be working with in the background. They'll be working with the logistics people, and they'll know these people, and they'll have a bit of a bond with them from previous years, so that'll be good as well. Yeah, and we're here, I suppose, today, Philly, in Dr. Morris Park. It's somewhere that you're going to have to get very used to. Obviously, for the first couple of months it'll be under lights, but you know, the facilities here are very, very, very good facilities, and I'm sure there'll be lots of opportunity for players to come in here, show their wares, and make their way onto the Tipperary football panel. Yeah, I certainly hope there'll be opportunities. We'll be knocking on the doors of the clubs to ask them for the names of players that they feel would be worth giving a look, having a look at. We won't be leaving any stone unturned. We'll be looking for new blood. As I said previously, we'll be looking at the minor teams from a couple of years ago. We'll be looking at the under 20 teams, along with the players that are established there already. For me, it's a blank canvas coming in. There will not be any agendas with me. It'll be solely on, as you say, we're in Dr. Morris Park. It'll be solely who does the work up in this area here, who works hardest, who wants to work hardest for Tip, and who puts the shoulder to the wheel.
It's great, Philly. And I suppose just before we finish, the club championships really up and going now. The last round of games taking place this coming weekend. Your thoughts on it? I know you've been at some of the games. You're involved obviously with your own club. If we look at the championships, the championships are going well, but I suppose there is a small little bit of disappointment with a number of walkovers as well.
Yeah, I suppose that walkovers are always going to be an issue. Why, I don't know. But I suppose there has to be maybe a greater sanction. It would be great if teams came out and played every game, and just there's enough players in every club to play the games. I don't think it should have an impact on your second team or your third team, whatever. Go out and play the game. That would be my belief, and that's what we'd always try and do. The club championship to date has been quite impressive. I thought a couple of very good games. Our own game against Lochmore there last Friday week was very good, entertaining game. You had a lot of the old-fashioned football, I suppose. You win the ball, give the ball away, and a couple of hard hits and a nice score. It wasn't your modern game of defence. It was both teams going hard at it. So really enjoyable game, and I've seen another couple of games around. Watched Brackens and Ardfinnan, and hopefully these games will unearth some new players as well. And the championship to date, I think, has been interesting, and I'm looking forward to the latter part of it. I think it'll be a bit of bite in it come the mid to end of September, coming into October. So I think we'll have one very good championship this year. Well,
Philly, it's been great to speak to you this morning. Thank you for taking the time to come and speak to us here. I wish you the very best of luck. I look forward to working with you as well over the coming course of the next couple of years. And I'm sure that Tipperary football is only going to go one direction with you in charge, and we look forward to that, Philly.
Well, thanks very much, Jonathan. I certainly hope that there's only one direction we can go. Thanks a lot.